Alright guys, welcome back. This video is going to be about creating a strong portfolio. For me, when I first started out, this was like really a hard thing to kind of organize, so I want to share with you guys ways that I've learned how to mold my portfolio. I've been to a lot of photo reviews, which are places where you basically meet producers and different people that hire photographers for campaigns, photo shoots, and you get a review from them about your portfolio. This is where you want to make sure that your portfolio makes sense to the viewer. For a long time, I was incorporating a lot of personal work into my portfolio, and it didn't really make sense to the viewer because they were kind of like, okay, this is great, but what, can I book you for a campaign? It was just a little too personal for the actual portfolio. And I learned this about 4 years ago. When I first moved to LA, I went to Palm Springs and I went to my first photo review, and that's where I learned, like, okay, maybe I gotta kind of like switch it up a little bit. Today I have 5 different tips to kind of organize yourself and move you in the right direction so that you can avoid like these little minor mistakes, because I learned this over a 4-year span. Like I think I stopped going to photo reviews in 2018 because you pay for them ultimately, and I just got tired of being told the same thing, so I just started to take myself a little serious. But these 5 things will ensure that you guys have a strong portfolio so that whoever views it will get you in the room, get you hired. So let's dive right in, y'all, on these 5 tips
to make sure your portfolio is popping.
Number 1 is going to be to create a focus. For me, my focus was Black women and color. I decided that back in like 2018, maybe 20. I feel like I've always known color was my thing, but I was afraid to completely dive into it. But 2018, I was like, I had a portfolio review and they were like, your strong suit is color. And I was like, you're right. So that's when I decided to make that my focus, and creating a focus around your work will just make things easier in general because things will start to relate more and make sense throughout your work. Your portfolio will become stronger because things are cohesively telling a story even when they're not. So you won't have to completely be crazy intentional about every little thing. I know when I first started creating photography, for me as a passion, so I would put a lot of personal work into it, and just like, it would be stories that the viewer doesn't necessarily understand. And I think it's cool to have personal work. I think that also draws in producers, and it's cool to throw that in your portfolio, but that should not be your entire portfolio. So be mindful of your focus. Your focus should be general. It could be, I know photographers that focus on strictly shooting men, or they focus on strictly shooting black and white photography. So it's really what you desire to shoot. It's not necessarily a specific type of thing. It's going to be something you're good at, something that you shine in. Number 2 would be have a color scheme. I think color schemes make the portfolio more of a cohesive like story, and it makes it tasteful and just like effortless to kind of flip through for the viewer. I like when you can see somebody kind of interested in what you are creating, like they're looking through the book and they're like, yes. That's kind of why I recommend photo reviews too, just to see the reaction outside of your peers, what people think of your work. Like, it's cool to have like, social media people seeing your work and saying, oh, that's dope. But it's cool to also have like a really good critique. I love when I was in like Colombia, we would always have critiques on our artwork, and I think it's really good to have an honest opinion of the work that you create, because anything that's like, oh, it's dope, or I like this, is not going to help you in the long run. You want to be able to know like what different things you can kind of change about your work. to ultimately help you to advance as a photographer. So definitely think about color schemes and think about how the flow of the colors flow through the pages. For me, my focus is pretty much bright colors, primary colors for the most part. If I have a structure, I always include primary colors into a shoot in some kind of way, just to make sure that things are cohesive. And if I don't, it's a very bold color specifically. So boldness is my color scheme, making sure the images are bold. So you have to find out what color scheme worked for you and your work and just flow with that, because once you start incorporating that into different shoots, other shoots will kind of flow together and make sense with each other and kind of tell a story ultimately. So number 3 would be adventurous with your composition. This is sometimes hard for me to remember as a photographer, but just because I have my favorite shots, but composition is really important, and switching it up and making sure that you have different, ways to view your images and ways to view the subject as well, just to keep things interesting, is very important, because you want to make sure that you're giving the viewer something exciting. Don't bore them. You want to, and for yourself too. Like I hate for when I as a photographer get into this comfortable stage of just shooting one way, and knowing that one way works for me, but not being adventurous and trying new things, like trying different angles, like going lower, going higher, shooting from below. It's different ways to shoot and see things. So be open to that and add that into your book every couple of shots. Never put like the same type of composition back to back to back. I think switching it up, giving the viewer something different with each shot is, it opens the door and makes the story look a lot more interesting. So number 4 is going to be play with lighting in different ways. Playing with lighting in different ways is just going to make it easier for your client to understand how you work. Playing with different lighting is going to, give your client the idea of what skill set you can create at. So if you can showcase, studio lighting in your portfolio, along with natural lighting, along with harsh lighting, your client will know that you can kind of shoot in any setting. And that's a dope thing to know, because photography can be created in different ways and different sceneries with different locations. So having that skill set to be able to shoot in different various ways is dope, and also shows that you kind of have access to a team as well. As a photographer, you have to be able to show that you are willing and able to work with a team, lighting assistants, makeup artists. So showing that you can light in different ways is also showing that you have a concept of how to work with different people on set as well. And so the last one would be to design your book for the person that's viewing it. So say, for example, you are going to show your book to Nike. I would maybe showcase athletic stuff. It doesn't have to necessarily be like Google stock photo athletic vibe, but you want to showcase that you know how to take pictures in motion. You want to show that you know how to capture quickly moving subjects, just because Nike is an athletic brand, and that is something that they are very adamant about, is motion and movement. So you want to showcase that you're able to do that. Or if you have a specialty and you are shooting for a brand that is very vibrant, you want to make sure that you're able to showcase colors that are vibrant, or things that are vibrant that will draw that producer in to ultimately hire you. Being aware of these 5 different things, and I think I'm going to make more videos because it's different avenues as well within your portfolio, not just the printed one but also the one online, that you can implement to make sure that clients are really enjoying your work. So hopefully these 5 tips helped you guys, or helped to guide you guys in the right direction, and ultimately continue to master your gaze. So I'll be back with more videos soon.